Today we're coming to you from inside the offices of DP World, and we're delighted to be speaking to the Group Chief Communications Officer. Daniel van Otterdijk has been accountable for building and delivering the group's communication and brand strategies, alongside managing stakeholder communications across DP World Group. He also advises DP World's Group Chairman and CEO, as well as the global leadership team, on all communications and brand-related matters. But he's got 20 years of experience, spanning over 20 years across Europe, the Middle East, the Americas, Asia. You've done communication roles, but as a Dutch national, 12 years in New Zealand, 18 in the UK. It's an interesting week for you. First of all, congratulations on your career.
Thank you.
I can't go past the first question of what is it like being a New Zealander this week with New Zealand taking on India in the semi-final?
Well, it's going to be a really exciting week because, of course, the culmination of what's been already a fantastic tournament, not just for DP World, but for all cricket lovers around the world, comes to a head this week. And, you've got two mouth-watering prospects with India and New Zealand and, of course, South Africa and Australia. So anything can happen from here on in. We've seen the formed teams, but now it's knockout cricket, and it's going to be really exciting.
DP World's got a great relationship with cricket, which we're going to get into in just a second. But I want to talk, first of all, about the Beyond Boundaries initiative. Where was the inspiration for DP World to launch the Beyond Boundaries initiative, and how does that then align with the company's broader goals and values?
Well, look, I think our entry into the sports arena and sponsoring things like cricket and golf has obviously got a significant commercial objective behind it. You know, we want to build our business in places and spaces we haven't been before, and to be able to engage with our customers on platforms like cricket and in golf. In ways that you can't otherwise do. So, for us, it's not just building our brand, but also our commercial arm of our business. But of course, sports is a wonderful place to congregate people. And cricket in particular is one of those sports where, a lot of our customers are engaged in. India is a very important market for us, and indeed the region. So naturally, for us, it's a great fit, first of all. And secondly, I think it then allows us to become a bit more socially relevant as well. So for us, it's really important not just to be an entity that puts a sticker on a billboard, but actually to be involved in the game, to help grow the game, and that means starting at the grassroots, and that means getting youngsters into the game, and broadening the game. So it's an active partnership, not just a badge strategy.
So is it fair to look at it two ways, that there is an element of, would you say, corporate social responsibility, but there's also an element of business is about relationships, and when you're dealing with international territories, sport is a great way to bridge those gaps and build on those relationships?
I think that's exactly right. You've said it well. It's as a company, we have responsibilities beyond our commercial activities, and if you think about the types of activities that we do, we have logistics operations. We're sitting here in Jebel Ali Port, but surrounding Jebel Ali Port are communities and people who work and live here. So being socially relevant is a really important part of building your reputation and your brand. And that comes with actively participating in that society. And that sometimes means we get involved in educational projects or sports projects. So we have a golf academy where we're trying to get youngsters to play golf. And getting young people into sports is a really important part of having a well-rounded and healthy society. So it's our small way of contributing, and it's a really important part, as I said, of building our brand.
Well, one of those ways you're contributing is with this ambitious plan of 50 cricket containers worldwide. Talk me through about this, because you said it's going to benefit local communities, grassroots, helping those budding cricketers. Tell me more about this, the Cricket Containers Worldwide program for DP World.
So the container is effectively our flagship device, if you like, on how we get cargo from the factory floor to the customer door. And containers, be they 40 foot or 20 foot, have become the device around how the whole world trade works. So we thought it was a fantastic opportunity to use exactly that, the container, to bring cricket to communities and to places where it otherwise can't get to. So to be able to open a container and have the goodies of cricket in there, and then for local youngsters to be able to engage and play with it, is to us logical, but also I think a really nice and ingenious way to make that happen. We do it exactly the same with golf. We go around schools, for example, taking containers to schools, and we open it up, and there's a Pandora's box of golfing goodies that kids can get involved in. So For us, it's about reaching out to communities, not making communities come to us, and that's why the container is a great idea. And the team came up with that. It's not my idea, I hasten to say.
It's great because even as adults, we know, as much as kids, you get your hand on a new cricket ball and you want to start spinning it and start playing with it. And one of those containers, in fact, the first container was unveiled by the DP World Global Ambassador, Sachin Tendulkar. You did that in Mumbai at the NSCI. What made the decision and how did you come about working with the great Sachin Tendulkar?
Well, first of all, Sachin has been such a great ambassador for world cricket for so long now. He is the greatest run scorer of all times, but also I think his personality and his if you look at his legacy, is all about giving back to the community. He left a lot on the pitch. He gave us some wonderful moments in cricket for so many years. But I think what's wonderful about him as a person, as an ambassador, is that he now really wants to give back to communities and be involved in growing the game, not just in India, but around the world. So for us, it was a natural fit and it was logical.
DP World, as you said, have this great relationship with cricket and the cricket containers. But talk to me about the cricket kits that you're giving, because I've seen this graphic come up on the commentary when I'm watching the big screen about the DP World kits that are being donated.
Indeed. So for every 100 runs scored during the Cricket World Cup, we give away 10 kits to communities all around the world. So obviously we're focusing on India to begin with, but also we take that further into South Africa perhaps and other countries around the world. So for us, it's again a clever way to get people involved in watching the game and seeing every 100 runs being scored and thinking, well, there's another 10 kits going there. So I think so far about 2,000 kits will be donated as a result of the runs scored. So hopefully in the semi-finals and the finals, you see 300-400 runs on the scoreboard and more kits to be delivered.
And this does help grow the game at a grassroots level, doesn't it, for both boys and girls?
Exactly. And in fact, the second container that we talked about was unveiled in Ahmedabad in conjunction with the BCCI Secretary, Mr. Jay Shah. We're very much focusing on women's cricket as well and getting girls involved in the game of cricket. And we've seen, certainly recently in the last sort of half a decade or so, the rise of the women's game. You now see it on Frontline Sport on TV, and it's really becoming very, very strong. So big focus on getting girls and women into cricket and making that a more prominent sport for broadcasting purposes.
When you look at your initiatives with cricket, you've also launched a new initiative. It's DP World's partnership with the ICC. Now, how has working with the ICC helped progress the program of the Beyond Boundaries initiative?
Well, the ICC have a very ambitious program to grow the game beyond what we call the top nations of cricket. So you've got between 8 and 10 nations where cricket is well established, but they have plans to be able to grow it much further beyond that. And cricket is now played in most nations around the world, although not obviously as a primary sport. But of course, with cricket becoming an Olympic sport in the 28 Olympics in Los Angeles, I think this could be a really amazing springboard to spread the game around the world and get youngsters involved in it in places like the United States and other parts of Asia as well as Africa. So we want to be part of that, and we're a global operator. We operate in 80 countries around the world, so we think we can play a role together with the ICC to promote the game through the countries and places where we operate.
So you actually see yourself more than someone that's partnering. You see yourself more as almost an investor in cricket, as someone that's invested in the game and helping it grow.
Yes, because it's in our interest to do so. Yeah. If we bring cricket to the masses, our partnership will have greater benefit, not just for us, but for the game as well. So it's a logical win-win situation, and therefore, as I said, we never invest in a sports property just for one singular reason. It's got to be a multitude of reasons. So it's building your brand, building your commercial opportunities, but also being more socially relevant in whatever way that takes. And in this particular case, with the ICC, we have a great opportunity to build the game of cricket around the world in nations such as the Netherlands, for example, done incredibly well with the World Cup this time, but also nations like Kenya, for example, where
they once made the semi-finals.
Exactly, indeed. But we can go beyond Kenya, perhaps even into Ethiopia and neighbouring Tanzania, where cricket is also quite prevalent. But those nations haven't quite got their activities together, so they compete on the world stage. So there's plenty of opportunity and scope to build the game around the world.
So, you do have a lot of partnerships. You're obviously involved with the Delhi Capitals. You're the major sponsor of the ILT20. Season 2 is starting up here in January. There's the DP World Lions. So you certainly are helping cricket grow. In the next World Cup, 20 sides are going to be in that World Cup held in the United States.
Indeed, and I think that hopefully by that stage, a lot of the work that Jeff Allardyce and the ICC are doing right now will be about that, will be about broadening the game to bring 20 competitive teams. And as I said before, we've seen over the last month and a half, 10 teams being competitive. You've seen some of the teams that haven't been, at the top of the tree, beating the top of the tree. So the Netherlands beating South Africa, Afghanistan, coming close to beating Australia indeed, and other upsets you've seen. So I think that's great for the game, and we want that competition. And hopefully in 4 years' time in the United States, we'll see that.
Men's T20 World Cup is next scheduled to be held in both the West Indies and the United States of America. It's always been that one market cricket's wanted to break into. The statistics are impressive. I know that San Francisco has more cricket clubs per capita than any other city in the world. And there is certainly a big West Indian and Caribbean flavour to a lot of the southern states. But without the cricket grounds, it probably wouldn't be possible. What's DP World's relationship in trying to ensure there is a successful Cricket World Cup being held in the United States next year?
So again, I think with our partnership with the ICC, we're very much involved in bringing the logistics element into this. So bringing kits, bringing equipment into the United States, where we have a big distribution network throughout the United States, but mainly from our hub in Detroit, to the places and spaces where the World Cup will be held. So we're playing an important role to make the logistics, if you like, of the World Cup next year happen in the United States. So I think with the World Cup happening in the United States next year, one of the key components is the logistics. How do we get the kit and equipment to the right places where the World Cup will be held? And of course, as a global operator with a big network around the United States from our hub in Detroit, we have a real prospect and a job on our hands to make sure that all the right things get delivered to the right places. So the World Cup in the United States will be a fantastic success next year. And it's a new ground, it's a new place. I bet you most Americans don't quite know what the game's all about, but they're going to find out next year for sure.
Well, Danny, congratulations on your work. It's great to hear about DP World and their investment and their partnerships with cricket. And I will actually say good luck for the first semi-final, because as an Australian, I'd rather play New Zealand than India in the final. So congratulations on your work, and thank you very much.
Thanks so much.